Hey everybody, welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre, your host, and I'm happy to be here today for the simple reason that I've received all the equipment that I've been crying about for the last several weeks. So I was able to get my video capture box. I was able to get my switcher, which allows me to put in my 2 HD cameras, which will give me a much better quality. I'll be able to zoom in on my paintings so you can have a better look at what I'm doing. That makes it so much better. I also was able to get my microphone, a little tie microphone, which now permits me and gives me the freedom to walk around the studio and talk. Before I had to wear my son's gaming headset, which was a real pain in the neck because I was limited within like 1.5 feet from my computer. So not very practical to paint, always taking off the helmet, putting it back on. Whoo-hoo! Finally, that's all done and gone and over and done with. So now we can get into some serious streaming. Now all the screw-ups are going to be my fault, nobody else's, like I just did, hitting the microphone with my hand. Anyways. So everything is a learning process, and it takes time. I've only been streaming for what now? 2 weeks? So this is like my 8th stream. So it takes a while. I remember when I was doing Vermont Public Radio, the first thing they told me, never make an excuse, never say you're sorry when you screw up. And the reason for that is because 99% of the listeners don't hear your mistake. So the fact of excusing yourself and saying you're sorry, all it does is bring attention to your mistake. So that's why I started off today by apologizing for my mistakes. Anyways, so let's see, what have we been doing the last 2 weeks? We started off by doing the background. We did the splattering of the background. We did that during the first week. We added these flowers, these white flowers. I'm going to zoom in now that I can. That's wonderful. Now I have to remember not to talk too loudly. I don't have to scream like I used to. And then after that, we did that last week. And then at the beginning of this week, we did the background here. And then we did the face and the hand. Then yesterday, we did the pants and the shirt and the details of the shirt. So that's basically what we've been doing the last week. So today, I think I'm going to finish the mask right here. I'm going to probably do the feet as well. I would like to get this kind of cloth, loin cloth, done also today, and the hand as well. The hand can go last since it's up front. I mean, we kind of tackle from the back and we work our way towards the front, like you're supposed to do, I guess. So anyways, that's what we are going to do. And so I'm going to get the paint ready and tackle, I guess, the feet first. I think I'm going to do that. So let me get the paint ready and then we'll get to work. Circle up. We are going to do the feet with light blue. We're going to use cerulean blue. Wait, I actually have the palette right here. So, and there isn't much of a surface to paint, so I don't have to do tons and tons of paint. Actually, for me, this is a relatively small painting. I'm kind of used to painting with paintings that are at least 4 feet by 6 feet. And this one, Jesus, what the hell is going on here? Someone did a dirty trick on me. And this painting here, I would say it's like 2.5 feet by 2.5, maybe. I'm not too sure. So anyways, it's kind of a small painting, which means the surfaces are kind of small. Honestly, I prefer painting on much larger paintings, using bigger brushes. It's so much more fun, more physical as well. So, there we go. Get this ready, get this out of the way. Get the right size paintbrush. So let me see. I guess this one will work fine for now. A little light blue, and then I'll put the shading on afterwards. So that looks just about right. I think I'm going to, before I do that, I think I'm going to finish off the mask here. I need just a little bit of the darker blue, and it's been bugging me. So I'm going to do that right now. Should take just a few seconds. So let's see now that we have this camera and we can zoom in. That's going to be a lot more fun. There we go. There will be a black outline, so the white that shows will be covered eventually. So that's no big deal. Can leave that the way it is. Up. So I'll bring out the camera back out here since we're going to be doing the feet. I'll move back down and oh man, I love this. Love being able to zoom in, zoom out. Something I've been dying to do for the last 2 weeks and couldn't. So, it's going kind of easy. Now that's okay. Step back, take a look. Yep, very good, very good. There we go. So as you notice, I put my painting on these pots of paints on my pot of gesso there. I do have an easel downstairs in the basement, but since I usually just paint on canvas that I staple to the wall, and I rarely paint on paintings that are stretched, fortunately this was given to me, so of course I wasn't going to throw it away. And I was most grateful for the gift, but I usually just paint on unstretched canvas, and because when the painting is finished, I just roll it up, put it with the others, so it takes so much less room and doesn't get damaged as much as stretched canvases who get piled on each other, and each time you move them around, they get scratched and whatever. So that is very good. You know what, since I have the light blue paint, I think I'm going to do the background of the hand, and I'll do all the shading maybe later when it's dry. I might as well go for it since I have everything here now. All I need to do is just find the right size paintbrush. I'm not sure if this is the right one, but I'm going to try this one. Worst comes to worst, we'll change it and just give it another paintbrush. So these hands are kind of a challenge because this samsara dancer is a dancer from Cambodia, and I took this image from a little sculpture, and of course nothing was proportionate on the sculpture, and the hands are exaggerated because that is the point of this dance, is to show the movement of the hands. So I'm gonna have to kind of wing it because it's not totally realistic. The fingers are all longer than they should be in real life, but that's fine. We'll just do our best and see what we come up with. So anyways, let's get to that. Music. I'm just going to do the background, and eventually the shadow will get me exact. I've learned to be patient over the years because sometimes you do something and you just don't really see it. Well, you just have to leave it, come back the next day, and then suddenly you see exactly where the shadows and everything goes. So I've learned eventually to be patient and not to stress out because I didn't find it the first time around. these fingers being so long. I'll figure it out. It's true that also by doing the stream like this, I also don't have really, I don't take the time to just look at the painting and think, because I'm always thinking a little bit about the viewer. So, and since I'm thinking about the viewer, I'm not really concentrated, but that's no big deal, really. And when I first started painting, all I had to worry about was trying to do something better than the last time. That was my only, and not screwing up the painting I was working on. And then I decided a few years ago, about 10 years ago, to start making movies, like the making of every one of my paintings. So that was a challenge, and it was a lot of fun as well. But the problem is that I had to interrupt the thinking and the meditation that went with the painting and start thinking of my cameras, moving them around, starting them, turning them off. So it took a while to get the whole thing to be automated, and where I didn't have to think about it all the time. So once I got that down pat, I had the brilliant idea a few weeks ago to try to do some streaming from the studio. I wanted to do this for a while, but I didn't have any internet connection. So now I have a great phone connection with 60 gigas per month of internet. So that permitted me to start doing streaming. So it's a new, a third ingredient that I have to take into consideration while I'm painting. So, and that's the part that I'm really not 100% good at. That's where I make a lot of little screw-ups and whatever. So hopefully, little by little, I'm gonna get better at it. Bon. So let's So there we go. That is the first part of today's work. Now I kept mentioning like this samsara dancer. I started this series of dancers a while ago, and this is, for example, one of my dancers. This is called the Cosmic Dancer on Top of the World, and then I did this couple of dancers a few years ago, which I enjoyed very much, and which some friends actually used this painting on the cover of one of their CDs. And then just before the 2 months, God, can't believe it, 60 days of confinement, well, just before that started, I did this other painting of a dancer, more like a ballerina kind of, but I just enjoyed the movement of this person. So that's one of the key things that I love in painting, is that I just love movement. And when I try to paint, I try to get movement in my paints and the backgrounds, either through splattering or just from the motifs, intertwining colors, whatever. So let me go back and take a look at this painting. I might have to turn on a fan. I think if I turn on this fan, it might get a little noisy, but it will dry faster. So I'm going to put that on for a few minutes. And noisy, it probably is, I don't know. All I know is that when I was learning how to use this program to do the streaming, I noticed that all the young cats that had YouTube instructional videos, they were all into how to set up your sound so you couldn't hear anything except the microphone. I don't really want to get into that trip. I like the noise and the ambiance of the studio, you know, hitting, dropping things, whatever. I have, you know, there are like 7 other artists working in this building. They might just walk in and say hello, and that's fine. I mean, why not? I mean, just to show you this is a lively building. So, so the noise, you know, it doesn't bother me. Hopefully it doesn't bother you too much too. I mean, actually, noise, it's kind of hard to avoid the noise when you're living in the old part of Nice where I am. I mean, most of the buildings in this area were built in the Middle Ages. I mean, my building was built in 16 something. The building right next to me, to our building, has actually a panel on the top of the entrance of the door with the date of like 1600 and something. And here are a few pictures you can see of the old part of Nice, all these old buildings, and they're also like this picture right here, they're all very close to each other. I mean, our neighbors are like only 15 feet from my studio. So if there's a construction site going on like 2 streets down, the sound bounces off the buildings and eventually will come right back here. So it's a noisy part of town. At nighttime, you have a lot of pubs open. This is a huge tourist attraction, though I think this year we won't have too many tourists because of the you-know-what. So for us locals who live here, it's kind of a blessing to have the beaches to ourselves and whatnot. Of course, for the people who have stores and restaurants, it's a calamity because I don't know what percentage of the income of this city is, but tourism is a big, big deal. So anyways, and the other thing about these little streets as well is, besides being noisy, is they're fairly dark too. So if it's a cloudy day, and in the winter time when it gets dark at 5 or 5:30, it really feels kind of strange, really dark and stuff. But at the same time, it was conceived that way because in the summertime it can be 100 degrees, and the sun doesn't penetrate in the streets, and it stays cooler. So whatever. No air conditioner in the old part of Nice, you know. That's an American thing. So anyways, I'm going to go back and kind of take a look and see how the painting is coming along. Well, it's drying quickly, thank God, with the fan. What I think I'm going to do, though, is get the green paint ready to do the loincloth. I don't know if you can, I'll just zoom in to kind of show you. But this guy has material, like draped over, goes over his leg and comes down here. And then he has another piece of material that goes underneath and around his waist. And then he has like a loincloth or something to, like, you know, protect his balls or whatever. So anyways, yeah, I'm pretty crude, and it's true. Oh well. Anyways, so, and I was seeing green, the 2 kinds of green, not exactly, I was thinking of like some stripes or something, but I'll figure that out in a few minutes. What I'm going to just do, though, in the meantime, is just basically get the paint ready. So, green. There we go. The other thing with these streets being so narrow and the buildings so old that all the rooms in these buildings are extremely small. So it gives you a small studio space to work in. So it gets cluttered rather quickly. My studio is I'm pretty lucky in this studio because I have this room here, which is the main room, and then I do have like a little living room over there, which I'll show you another time, I guess. I have like a little kitchen, and then I have another back room here where I can store my paintings. So that's. And at one point, I actually lived here for like 6 months, all through the winter. Now it was kind of tough because we don't have any hot water here and we don't have any heating. So it was kind of a rough winter, I must say. I mean, of course, I did get little space heaters, but still. No hot water. I had to always go to friends, take a shower. Happy those days are over. I was in between looking for 2 apartments to rent. And since I couldn't find any right away, well, this place was a good place to live. I do have a loft next door with a big double bed on it. I guess it's called a loft now, a mezzanine. I don't know. I do have a lot of different greens because I do paint a lot of jungle. That's awfully dark. A lot of jungle scenes in my paintings. So. I could do that while I'm trying to figure out paint. I could show you a few of my these paintings that I did when I was into my jungle period. It's quite a few years back though. But this will give you an idea of the paintings that I did back then. These paintings were done in the 1980s when I came back from living in South America. I lived down in Uruguay and Paraguay for about 3 years. Well, the first year I actually traveled through every country in South and Central America except for Venezuela. And the reason why I didn't go to Venezuela is because at the time it was one of the most expensive countries in South America. So since I was on a tight budget, I avoided that. But anyway, so this gives you an idea, a little bit of these jungle paintings I was telling you about. And I was so touched when I went down the Amazon River that even to this day, I often paint a lot of jungle scenes with animals, parrots, and whatnot. So anyways, so let me get back to making the paint so we can move along here. Again, here I'm going to start with a darker color, a darker green, and eventually I'll put lighter green afterwards. Of course, because of the copyright laws, I can't play any music that I enjoy playing. Otherwise, I'd be banned. Putain, c'est pas possible. Damn it. There's a little too much, and a little too much liquid there. Ugh. No big deal. It's, saliva to clean up the mess. There we go. And I do it quickly because acrylics dry extremely fast, but then again, it doesn't matter. You can always go back later and fix it. Jesus, I'm making a mess today. Must be the excitement of having my microphone and cameras. Anyways. So, we're going to let that dry. How's that look? Okay. So, we're going to let that dry. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. What the hell? Let's take advantage of this. Do it like that, right? Okay. So we are going to let that dry. And then what am I going to do next? It's funny to look at my painting on the screen of the computer instead of turning around and looking at the real thing. Jeez, my God. Well, it looks better in live than on the screen, I must say. Because here I can see all the details that on the screen, not really. Oh. Okay. always going after that elusive quest for perfection, which of course doesn't exist in real life. I'll stop there. See what that looks like. I must admit that sometimes I paint things that make absolutely no sense because I'm only looking for the colors. I just love colors, and that's basically what I'm doing, is just putting down colors. Wow. Very good, very good. Now we're going to let that dry and letting the fan do its thing. And as we're waiting for it to dry, I could show you maybe one of my little movies. It just take about like, I don't know, about 5-6 minutes. As time goes by, I think I'll do that right now. So. This movie is called The Red Geisha. And I am going to have to turn down the music again because of copyright protection. This music is taken from a funeral in the movie by Kurosawa. I'm going to have to, unfortunately, bring it down, and but I'll just replace it with music from my friend Pete, who does great music as well, I think. So, course, there you can see the music that we're missing from the film. Anyways, if you go to my website, you can definitely see it with the original music that goes with it. So my friends, I was looking at my watch, I see an hour has gone by. My paint isn't quite dry yet. I'm not gonna stick around. I think this was a fairly good try, no mistakes. At least I didn't see any. It's a miracle. Maybe I'm actually getting good at this. I'll get better, I'm sure, with time, but I'm having so much fun. This is such a thrill to do this. I know there are no viewers, but that really doesn't matter. I mean, I have nothing to sell, and I'm here anyways painting. So if any of you can join me and we do this together, I think it's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing. It's a blast for me. It's a great motivator also for me to just come and paint. I mean, so I'm going to do this. I do this like basically 4 times a week, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you're making yourself a cup of coffee in the morning or something, join me, have a little chat. And I hope anyways, what are we? We're Thursday. My son's at the house, and means I got to go dinner tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to come in tomorrow. I basically do my streams Monday through Thursday, and then depending what's going on at home, depending on my son's homework, because I'm also his teacher. I mean, because of the confinement for the last 2 months, I became a math teacher, physics, chemistry, French, Spanish, you name it. So it's been a lot of work, and I tip my hat to teachers. I've grown to have a lot of respect for them, because when I see the amount of work that my son is demanding of me, boy. So anyways, I want to thank you very much for joining me. I hope you'll join me, if not tomorrow or Saturday. At least you can count on me on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I'm just going to leave you one more with my schedule just before I sign off, and I'm just going to wish you a really very nice weekend, and I'll see you next Monday, if not before. Ciao, mes amis.